This video is for a friend. She's gone to a national distributor and she's done a SIP for an X amount. Okay, let me name the amount also. For about a lakh of rupees, she has done an SIP. Now, 1 lakh rupees should logically have gone into 2-3 funds, but it has gone into, hold your breath, about 15 funds of 5,000 each or 6,000 each, and some money has not yet been invested. I don't understand the logic for 15-16 funds for 1 lakh of rupees per month SIP, including an arbitrage fund, a liquid fund, an ultra short bond fund. Why would you do an SIP into all these funds also? Then I realized that when you are a national distributor, you need to keep everybody happy. So about I think 10-12 fund houses or maybe more have been kept happy. None of them are famous, none of them are big. I think they've started right at the bottom. And they've done so many fund houses, so many 5,000, 6,000 rupee kind of SIPs. Absolutely no logic. Luckily for me, when she called and said, this is what I have done, I said, send me the screenshot. And she sent me the screenshot with just a messy portfolio of some large and multi-cap and mid-cap, small-cap, arbitrage, liquid, feel like saying liquid, gaseous, solid, everything. All kind of funds in so many fund houses. And she's very clear that it's okay because I don't have to do anything. I get a consolidated statement. Now the advantage is, from a distributor point of view, he's a representative of ND. Chances are all these funds will not always be in negative, not always be in positive, but one thing very clear, they will underperform the index. That I have no doubt at all that they will all collectively 1 lakh per month will underperform the index because there's just too much variety. But what can happen is, at a time of doing review, he can always show arbitrage and liquid and say, see, these are not making losses. These are not expected to make losses. So some of the bigger funds may be making losses. I don't expect ultra short, arbitrage and liquid fund ever to make a loss. So that loss will not happen. Overall, maybe she'll get 5-6% return, which is slightly underperforming PPF. She will 100% underperform the index because they will do a lot more transactions. There are transaction fees involved in this because these are all regular schemes. Into this mess, luckily he was pestering her into buying an term plan. Now, this is a 47-year-old doctor. She has a 51-year-old husband, both doing extremely well in their practice, having a steady stream of income over and above their practice also, in terms of they have got bank fixed deposits, they have got some small housing loan, they have got investments into some direct equity, real estate, so there is rent coming in, small amount of EMI going, most of the loans have been paid off. Daughter is about 21-22 years of age, about to start earning, or at least maybe earn in another 2-3 years. So when she called up, I said, of course you don't need term insurance. There is absolutely no need for you to put in money into term insurance. She said, no, he's been saying I have to take 2 crores of term insurance because my income is about 30 lakhs. He said 3 crores of term insurance. Now this is what happens when you catch young boys and girls and train them and teach them and say, oh, this is the ratio, 10x the income. 10x the income for a doctor who is 45 years of age or 47 years of age, and a husband who is earning very well. She's also earning very well. Both of them have enough cash flow even during COVID times. Absolutely no problem. Why would she require term insurance at all? And why would she want to put money in 15-16 funds? I think 15-16 funds is to protect the advisor, saying, okay, see, the 4 are making money, 3 are losing money, 2 are making money. So overall, there is no way how she is going to calculate the overall portfolio return, nor is she going to understand why is she losing money in equity funds and why she may not losing money at all in debt fund, leading her to believe that debt funds are better than equity funds, not understanding that in the longer run, the reverse could be true. So I guess even people who go to advisors need some help. So I guess a combination of having two advisors, one advisor who tells you what to do and one advisor who actually does what the first advisor does, like having a physician and a surgeon. So that because I think the surgeon is a guy who will want to cut up everything for you, and a physician is a guy who might apply his mind with lot more time and then suggest a course of action, right? I have seen this happen, that physicians take more time to decide and surgeons are faster to decide. So I think the surgeon physician thing should work even in investing. People should not go directly to a surgeon. They should go to a surgeon only via a physician. Thank you.